Hey YouTube, I'm back after a much needed break with another episode in the series on how to mix your beats. Today's episode is on compression, which can be a very daunting and abstract subject for many of us. And if you're new here, thanks for joining us. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button and also the bell notification so that you will get regular updates whenever I post a new tutorial. Also follow me on my other social media pages to stay in touch. And while watching this, I do recommend that you use your headphones if you have a really good pair of headphones so that you can properly hear what compression does, because it's a very subtle thing. And I just want to make sure that you guys all hear it properly. And also watch till the end of this tutorial where I will be sharing some dope tips on how you can train your ear to hear compression. So let's roll and get right into the subject. Okay, so what exactly does a compressor do? A compressor's function is literally to keep the dynamic range of a sound under control. For instance, if you have an instrument or a vocal recording or a sample recording, whatever the case might be, and there are louder parts as well as softer parts, what the compressor does is make the louder parts softer, and it brings up the quieter parts in level so that it really evens out the dynamic range of a sound. And this is very handy for when you think of your overall mix, that every sound is very well represented and every part in that sound cuts through clearly in the mix. But before I even show you any practical examples of how compression works, if you are new to compression or you are new to mixing, let me first give you a basic understanding of what the knobs are on your compressor and what they actually do. 1. Threshold. Let's start with the threshold first. The threshold knob on your compressor tool is used to set the level at which you want the compression to kick in. Simply put, if the threshold is high, you get less compression, and also the other way around, of course. The lower the threshold, the more you compress. 2. Ratio. The ratio knob determines by how much the level of a sound is lowered. So if your ratio is set very low, the less compression is applied. 3. Attack time. The attack time determines how fast or slow the compression is applied. For instance, if you set the attack time fast, you can hear that the signal is compressed almost from the get-go. But if you set the attack time slower, it enables the compressor to take its time to ease into applying the compression. 4. Release time. The release time is basically the time it takes the compressor to recover from clamping down. For instance, if you set a slow release time, the longer the sound is compressed, which means it will take the compressor longer to release the sound to its uncompressed state. 5. Knee. This might sound funny, but the knee function on your compressor works together with the threshold function. When you set the knee to hard, you will notice the compressor changing the tone of the sound more aggressively as the signal crosses the threshold. And with a soft knee setting, the compressor eases into changing the tone and you end up with a smoother transition from uncompressed to compressed. 6. Makeup gain. Now, for all you lady producers out there, makeup gain has absolutely nothing to do with buying or wearing too much makeup. This function can be used to compensate for the volume loss created by compression. But this is interesting because it acts as an overall gain in volume after all dynamics have been evened out. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at how this works. Here is a vocal recording of me singing a verse part in a track that is yet to be released. It's very dynamic, meaning that it has quite a few loud parts as well as quieter parts, as you guys can see here. So let's go ahead and open up my compressor tool. For this, I'm using FabFilters Pro C2 simply because it also gives you a graphic representation of what you will be hearing the compressor doing. This red line here above represents the actual compression, so you'll see it changing once you start making adjustments to these knobs here. And this white line represents the knee function. And here are the various parameters: threshold, ratio, attack time, and release time. And you also have your knee parameter, which in this case is a slider. And you also have a mix knob and a gain knob. So let's play the recording so I can give you guys an example of how to use this tool. We all have our bad times, but don't stop trying even if you're feeling all alone. Ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't cry, baby, we gonna fly, gonna beat down every black eye that he gave on our own. Don't you know? No hiding your pain inside so you can't go on no more. Just let it go. Ooh, yeah. Stand up, keep your head up. Never look back when you're fed up. Just keep your eyes on your goal. That's how you roll. Yeah, 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 yeah. We all have our bad times, but don't stop trying even if you're feeling all alone. Ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't cry, baby, we gonna fly, gonna beat down every black eye that he gave on our own. Don't you know? No hiding your pain inside so you can't go on no more. Just let it go. Ooh, yeah. Stand up, keep your head up. Never look back when you're fed up. Just keep your eyes on your goal. That's how you roll. Yeah, 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 yeah. We all have our bad times, but don't stop trying even if you're feeling all alone. Ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't cry, baby. We all have our bad times, but don't stop trying even if you're feeling all alone. Ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't cry, baby, we gonna fly, gonna beat down every black eye that he gave on our own. Elconblue. So in the end, I settled on a threshold of minus 60 dB, so the compression just slightly touches the signal because I still want to keep some of those dynamics. I also set the ratio at 2:1. I also went for a moderately fast attack time, so the compressor just catches the loud parts in time, the transients, but it doesn't necessarily kick in too fast. I just want the attack to be gradual and smooth, but it doesn't also squeeze the life out of the vocal, because I really like the fact that there's so much dynamics. And I also set the release time moderately fast, so the compressor recovers quicker to an uncompressed state. We all have our bad times, but don't stop trying even if you're feeling all alone. Ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't cry, baby, we gonna fly, gonna beat down every black eye that he gave on our own. Don't you know? No hiding your pain inside so you can't go on no more. Just let it go. Ooh, yeah. Stand up, keep your head up. Never look back when you're fed up. Just keep your eyes on your goal. That's how you roll. Yeah, 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 yeah. So as you guys can hear, just to reiterate, compression is used to tame the dynamics of a sound in order to make the signal sound more stable within the context of the entire mix. Otherwise, the softer parts would just drown away and you wouldn't be able to hear it very well. And the loudest parts would be a little bit too in your face. Now, just another note, compression is also used by many professional sound engineers to give a richer tone as well as controlling the energy of a particular sound. But I'll keep this tutorial very simple by not going into all of those uses. Instead, if you guys are still interested to know more on that, feel free to check out a link to an article by sonarworks.com in the description box below. Now let's talk a little bit about parallel compression. Parallel compression is basically mixing an unprocessed signal with either a slightly compressed or a heavily compressed version of the same signal. In other words, you can duplicate a track and then use one track dry and the other one with compression added to it, and then mix the two together. In some cases, it can even give a sound more energy and even more level depending on how you use this technique. Some compressors actually have a special knob or slider which is usually indicated as the mix knob, where you can mix the dry signal with the compressed signal without having to duplicate a track, and that's very handy. Now, as I unfortunately didn't have enough time to get really deep into parallel compression in this tutorial, what I did was leave a link in the description box for you guys from musicianonamission.com. What a tongue twister. If you guys are really interested in getting to know more on parallel compression. Tip number 1. If you'd like to give yourself the best chance at actually hearing the subtleties of compression, you're going to need a good pair of studio headphones. And I mean a pair of headphones that are generally used by top-class mix engineers such as Beyerdynamics DT990 Pro. For a full list of the best studio headphones for 2021, I've included a link in the description for you guys. So check that out. Tip number 2. By familiarizing yourself with each of your compressor's functions as mentioned in this tutorial, practice for up to an hour each day with a singular sound, preferably a clean, natural instrument such as a guitar recording or a vocal recording, or maybe a stringed instrument where no processing whatsoever has been added. Tip number 3. Before you start each practice session, prepare your ears by clicking the link in the above screen. These are tips to calibrate your ears before you start mixing, and it is also very beneficial when training your ears to hear compression. Tip number 4. Now this might sound very obvious, but the only true way of getting yourself to the point of knowing what compression sounds like is to play around with your compressor tool on an unprocessed recording or track and listening carefully what changes are happening in the sound. Experiment with using various ratios, 4:1, 2:1, 3:2, etc., using high and low threshold settings, hard knee and soft knee settings, fast and slow attack and release times, and comparing them to each other. The key is to listen carefully for any changes in the sound as you change the settings on your compressor. I recommend doing this for at least a week, every day for an hour, until your ear is familiar with it. Also remember to give your ears a break for 5 minutes or so, every 20 minutes. And then when you're confident that you can hear and understand what compression sounds like, move on to tip number 5. Once you have a solid grip on what compression sounds like on a singular instrument, start playing around with your compressor tool in a mix. This will enable you to solo as well as listen and compare what your compressor does while playing along with other instruments. This will also train your ear to single out what compression sounds like within the context of the bigger picture of your mix. Now guys, please keep in mind that compression is an art and it takes practice. This isn't a skill in mixing that you will be able to perfect overnight if you're new to this. So just keep at it and you'll get better each and every time. So that's it from me. I hope this tutorial gave you guys a better understanding of compression. Please give me a thumbs up if you found this helpful. And just a quick reminder, hit that subscribe button and also the notification bell if you'd like to get updated whenever I post a new tutorial on my channel. And join me next time for another tutorial in the series on how to mix your beats. The next one will be on saturation, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching, fam. I'll peep you guys in the next.